Shalom. Alright. It's a little big, or whatever. Shalom, shalom, everyone. How you guys doing? Here, trying to write backwards again. How much time we got? Where is it? Oh, man, we're late. Never mind. Welcome, 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 welcome to True Hebrews United, THU. Welcome to True Hebrews United of the Almighty Yeshua. Definitely give all honor to the creator of all things and all that is in therein, the heaven and the earth, and the sea, and the heavens. Definitely give all honor. Without him, we would not be here. We would not have employment, health, jobs, family, friends, anything. Even coming into this knowledge, because he blinded one person and damned thousands. For every person that's going to make it, for every person that's allowed to come into this truth, there's probably thousands of people that will never make it. And even that in and of itself, if you marinate on that, it's like, man, I definitely thank the Most High, because for every one person keeping the Sabbath, or for every one person not eating pork, there's thousands of people that say they believe in this Bible. And yet they're doing Sunday worship. They're eating pork. They got their crosses. For every one person actually holding a standard, and I'm not talking about atheists or Big Bang. I'm just talking about people that hold up the Holy Scriptures. For every one person keeping the commandments in truth, there's thousands of people that hold up this same book that ain't gonna make it, So I definitely thank the Almighty for that. Through his son, Yeshua, Mashiach. Double honor to the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the teachers, the elders, the bishops, the deacons across the whole world, teaching, living, and being an example to people and trying to get them to repent before it's too late. All the brothers and sisters keeping the Almighty's commandments, statutes, judgments, precepts, and ways. All of the people on the Facebook and YouTube that like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'm starting to put some news more. I'll start put some more posts on the Facebook in line with the news and everything. I don't have too much for news. It will be a shorter service. I don't have too much for news, but I'll try to put some more stuff on there as well. I'm actually doing the whole little motivational speaker service today. It's a short service. I only got no, never mind. I got like eight scriptures. Normally I get like 10 to 15. Those prosperity preachers use like 2 scriptures the whole service and just go telling story after story after story after story after story. You could only elaborate on a scripture for so long. It don't take 30 minutes to elaborate on one scripture, one part of the text, right? So definitely thank all you guys. Please jump on the YouTube channel. Get that algorithm out there. Even if you want to help by just jumping on and putting a thumbs up and a comment on a couple of random videos, that pushes us and gets us up there, even if it's that in and of itself, to push the line and to get it. Even if you just let it play, you're driving 30 minutes to work, let it play. Whether it plays on silent or whether it plays, let it play. And that way we can get the time and get the algorithm going. Because the time is running out, especially in the States, to save people. So, with all that said and being done, let's let the things do the walking and the scriptures do the talking. I thank the Almighty too, because I forgot to reserve here. You know, I like this whiteboard too. I forgot to reserve it, which I don't really mind, because I actually like teaching outside anyways. I don't really like teaching indoors, but I forgot, because you got to reserve. The last one was the Wednesday, and then you got to reserve today, and then I got to reserve this coming Monday, and then so I forgot to reserve. But sure enough, there was an opening, the last opening, and I booked it today. So I was like, thank the Almighty, you know. So thank the Almighty for that. Let's go with Leviticus 23. We got the Feast of Tabernacles come up. I'm not going to be dealing with it too much, because we have plenty of days to deal with the Feast of Tabernacle. So you will see Brother Vince doing some teachings on the non-Sabbath days, and then I'll be teaching on the Sabbath days, or he'll be teaching or bringing news or whatever comes to his heart. Leviticus 23, verse 1. And the Almighty spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying unto them, concerning my feast of the Almighty, which you proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts, holy assemblies. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, a holy convocation. You should do no service or work therein. It is a Sabbath up to the Almighty in all your dwellings. And we're going to stop right there. I'm just letting you guys know we have Feast of Tabernacles coming Sunday at sunset to Monday. It isn't a double Sabbath, but it's Sunday at sunset to Monday. So hopefully you guys aren't working on those days, or you already scheduled those days off. We sent it to all the people that watch. If you guys want a calendar of our feast days and whatnot for our years, just hit us up. We usually send it to the people that watch all the time. Shout out Gino A. Wright. Shalom, shalom fam. So Feast of Tabernacle, you got to build your tabernacle. I'll teach on it. It's not just buying a tent. If you're going to buy the tent and go just go the lazy route. If you're going to do the lazy route and buy the tent, at least you're going to have to cut some branches and put it on top of the tent. I will teach on it. I understand why people do buy a tent, because tabernacle means tent, but I'll teach on that. I'm not going to do it this one, because we have too many 4 Sabbaths in these 8 days that I could teach on it. But set up your tabernacle. You can learn, even if you do it the right way halfway through, the Almighty sees that. Almighty, you know, I didn't do it on the first day. I just now found out about it on the 3rd day or 4th day. I'm going to do it according to the scriptures. These are your days. We need to keep this on to you. This is a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings, right? So we have the Feast of Tabernacle coming up. Today will be a shorter service, because we have so many Sabbaths between Day of the blowing of trumpets and regular Sabbath, and Day of Atonement, and then regular Sabbath, and straight Feast of Tabernacle, then a regular Sabbath, then another Feast of Tabernacle. So we have quite a bit of Sabbaths coming up. But praise the Almighty. And then we have 8 days of feasting. So let's get it. With all that said, being done, I did that already. But let's let the things do talking again. 2 Peter chapter 1. 2 Peter chapter 1. We're going to break this scripture down real quick and give some examples. 2 Peter chapter 1. And money's tight. Then I can show you some cheap ways to get your tabernacle going. It's not, you know, you can make it with just $30. Go to Harbor Freight, get you some loppers, find you a canyon, find you a little empty field, and just build a little teepee. Go under there every day for 8 days, read a chapter, and leave. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to do, watch a service under there. However, if you want to build a big one for your family in your backyard, hey, do whatever's in your heart or whatever you're capable of doing. 2 Peter chapter 1, starting at verse 4. Let's get it. Whereby are given unto us exceedingly great precious promises, that by these might be partakers of divine, having escaped the corruption of this world through lust. And besides this, given all diligence, like put effort, be diligent, have direction, put urgency into, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and unto patience godliness, and unto godliness brotherly kindness, and unto brotherly kindness charity. For if these things be in you, and abound, that you may make you that you shall neither be barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord Yeshua Mashiach. So we're going to write down some of these Mashiach. But he that lacketh these things, is blind and cannot see afar off, and have forgotten that he was purged of his own sin. He says was. That means you fell back. Wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence, make your calling and election sure, for if you do these things, you shall never fail. So, we'll deal with the first one. We'll break it down. It says, be all these things, add to your faith virtue. So we're going to go to virtue. And yeah, I'm writing backwards, so this is going to be a little bit. So go ahead and give me a bookmark, 2 Peter chapter 2. We're going to be coming back to this like 5-6 times. Go ahead and give me Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31. And I am going to stretch the surface on each of these. I'm not going to go in too detail because I could teach a whole Bible study on just certain things on each one in and of itself. Proverbs 31 verse 10. It says, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. All right, so we're going to use virtue. We're going to define virtue. We're going to give virtue by the definition in the Strong's, and also we're going to define it by the examples we see. So you can't make your own definition. Well, in the context of what we see on multiple times, you can. If multiple times someone says that girl is hot, man, I want to talk to that girl. The girl's real hot, and she's not sweating, then we could probably mean that the word hot is used in the context as she's pretty, right? Without changing the actual definition. All right, so yeah, there we go. So virtue in the Strong's Concordance for the Hebrew, it says power, a mighty work, strength, a miracle, virtue, mighty, and then it says miscellaneous, so other acts of powerful things. All right, so now we're looking who could find a virtuous woman, for her price is far above rubies, or a mighty woman, or a miracle to have found one, because their price is, you got lucky. Oh, you got a good wife like her, you got lucky, right? Whatever, right? A miracle. For her price is far above rubies. Why is that? Let's go with it. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. I asked a hypothetical. I don't want to get too long. I asked a hypothetical to a dude. I say, hey, so you can't hit a girl, right? You know, he's like, no, I don't believe in hitting girls. I don't believe in hitting girls. And I was like, all right, this is a true story. There's a man, and he saved $22,000 for this true story for his child's kidney surgery. And the stepmom spent the money to go to a concert. I was like, would you want to sock that girl up? Oh, because they said, oh, under no circumstances you hit a woman. Like, now my kid might die because she spent this. And you're a stepmom. You're not even the real mom. You're the stepmom. You knew I was saving $22,000 for my kid's kidney surgery, and you spent that money to go to a stupid concert, right? And you don't have to answer that. You guys could answer that if you want. But anyway, some guy said, man, I'm not going to hit her, but I'm going to call my sister. My sister's going to stomp her out. Like, she's going to get beat up. Like some guy said. So, and I was like, I'm going to get a butch. Someone said, I'm going to get a stud, like a butch girl, like husky, like straight power lifter girl, right? To be stomp her out and whatnot. But my main point is, a virtuous woman will do him good and not spoil all the days of his life, right? So it's rare, obviously, especially now, these are rare traits and mighty acts to where you can say, I've always been in my husband's corner or something, right? So let's keep going. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax and work willingly with her hands. you're not going to come home after a 12-hour shift and then nothing's done. Why is the house dirty? And why does the baby still have a diaper that looks like it's been in pee for 6 hours? Why is the baby's diaper haven't been changed? And like, it looked like he peed 6 times in there. What's up with that? You know what I'm saying? And then why don't you have anything cooked? And what did you eat? Oh, I ate cereal for lunch. That's all you've been feeding my kid all day? Do you see where I'm going at? So let's keep going. She is like a merchant, and she bringeth her food from afar. She rises while it's yet night, and giveth meat unto her household, and portion to her husband. Like if they wake up morning and make you make your lunch, she wakes up with you and make your lunch when you wake up or whatnot. Put little notes in there, right? She's not idle. She's not lazy. Slothfulness is a sin, and people just don't get it. Like when you go to work, you got to put some work in. You got to be above the center. I'm not saying work yourself to death for a company that don't care about you. There's a difference. But put in an honest day work for an honest day pay. No, don't break yourself. These companies do not care about you. Do not break your back. And now you got back problems because you try to be a hard worker for this company that says, you know what, our profit shares, we're laying 10%. And then you get your notice through an email. You're locked out. No, don't do that. Because they don't care about your back problem. They don't care about your hearing loss. They don't care about any of that. Give them an honest day work for an honest day pay. Do not be lazy. Don't let the Almighty down. Verse 16, she considered for a field and buyeth it, and the fruit of her hands planted it. For the one that said, oh, well, we use your money. My money's my money. Did you save any money? Let's say you hurt your leg and you're down for a bit. And your wife, what have you been doing this whole time? You don't have no savings? Oh, I just been spending it. Like, what happens if I get hurt? Yeah, I'm paying all the bills, but if you have a job, why don't you put half aside? You don't got to pay rent. You don't even got to pay anything. Put half aside for a rainy day. I could get sick. I could be in a wheelchair for 2 months. You never know what the future could. You can't just 100% depend that nothing happens to me. I'll never get sick. I'll never get hurt. I'll always have a job. I'll never get laid off. And you're just not going to save your money. No, virtue, wisdom. Virtue is a mighty act that says, oh, don't worry, husband, I got it. You know, I got this, right? Let's keep going. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good, and her account goeth not by night. She's not lazy. She lieth her hands to the spindle, her hands hold the distaff. Now, these are all acts, and I'm using this, that we're going to get with the man as well, but it says, add to your faith virtue. So having faith in the Most High in and of itself isn't enough, because it says if you lack these things, then you forgot that you were purged from your old sin. There's nothing worse than for a person to come to the Almighty and tell people that they serve the Almighty and they show up late to work all the time. That's not virtuous. They show up to late all the time. You're giving a bad testimony. It says walk circumspectly. So add to your faith virtue. It's nothing worse than you get someone that says, yeah, I believe in the Most High, whatnot, and they're a lazy worker. It's like you're tarnishing his name. Yeah, you may be keeping the commandments, but you don't have virtue. You don't have work ethics. You don't have a standard you don't take pride in your work. You dish out sloppy burgers. If you're flipping burgers, your burgers are trash. Or you barely swept the floor. Or you barely stocked the shelves. No. So let's keep going. She stretcheth her hands to the poor, and she reaches forth her hand to the needy. Few people help the homeless. Few people. Let me read some comments. Yeah, if the roles were reversed, you would be okay for him bashing his head with a cast iron skillet? I would be okay. Because if my son dies because you wanted to go to a concert, and I'm the bad guy if I put hands on you, I'm just saying. I'm not saying what I haven't answered that question. I'm not going to answer that question. Maybe on a Zoom meeting or something, right? But imagine if my son dies because you spent the surgery money on a concert and you're worried about me punching a girl, but my son died. That's up to you to decide. Let's keep going. Decisions based off of wisdom may not result into violence, but other forms of punishment and retaliation. Yeah, there's a way you could get back. You know what I'm saying? I agree with that. I never answered the question. I was just asking what these people thought about that situation. And how would you retaliate? What, you're going to sue? My son's dead. What, for $22,000? My son's dead. I mean, but anyways, let's keep going. She stretches her hand to the poor. She is not afraid of the snow, and her household is clothed with scarlet. So, I told you guys before, she may find deals. Oh, summer's ending, and all the summer clothes are on sale. They're 50% off, 70% off. I'm just going to get bigger sizes for all my kids. They pick out whatever they like. I'll get 1 or 2 sizes bigger, and then next summer, we already got summer clothes. Or next winter, we already got winter jackets. We don't have to buy them at full price. That's virtue, right? Let's keep going. Her husband is known in the gates and sitteth among the elders. Oh, what you eating right there at lunchtime? Oh, man, that smells good. Oh, my wife, maybe she be doing that? Yeah, my wife always be throwing down. He gets praised at the gates. You know what I'm saying? He gets praised at the gates. She maketh fine linen and selleth it. She delivered girdle to her merchant. She stretch out and honor are in her clothing. She rejoiced in the time to come. Honor. She's not married and doing over-the-shoulder butt pics. She's not trying to seek male validation outside of her husband. She's not trying to get sexual attraction outside of her husband. She's retaining honor. That is not honorable. That is not ladylike. She opened her mouth with wisdom. She's not always calling someone a nigga and referring to men as niggas or bros, because Europeans always they be calling people bros. They call their husband bro and stuff like that, and their dad a bro. It's weird. I don't know why they do that, but whatever, right? They don't use excessive amounts of profanity. They're speaking with wisdom. If you're a wise woman, what wise woman uses excessive amounts of profanity? None of them. Blankety blank, this and this and this. You sound ignorant. Once I stopped cussing, I realized how ignorant people sound by using profanity. Excessively too. Not even using it to bring emphasis on a topic, but they just use it as a common way to communicate. Like, it's one thing, like, sometimes, like, they're upset and you dumb, whatever, right? To bring emphasis on something versus blankety blank blank, yeah, and this blank and blank blank blank, like just common. It's like, you sound ignorant. Let's keep going. Verse 26, she opened her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is the law of kindness. This goes both ways, by the way. This ain't just for a woman. There's men that sound ignorant too. She looked well to the ways of her household, which a man should do too, and eateth not the bread of idleness, which we know slothfulness is a sin. He's describing, a lot of these things are describing a virtuous woman, but this is also the straight standards for a man as well. Her children arise and call her blessed, and her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excelleth them all. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be saved. Dealing with the whole beauty thing, you'll understand that, like, these women, IG models, they could never keep a man. They are so focused on views and likes and making money from their TikTok and Instagram. They may get a man, and a lot of men may desire her for her beauty, but as far as her being a wife, she is worthless. She's worthless. She has no value. She has no intrinsic value, because eventually her beauty will fade. Eventually she'll get 35 and 45, and there's 22s and 28s that are younger. More boobs are more perkier, skin has less wrinkles, and they're younger. So if all her value is in her beauty and not in virtue, then her value is quickly diminishing. Quickly. Versus men, they do look good, but typically women don't just date men for looks. The ones that are wise, they have to add value. I need a man with a car. I need a man with direction. I need a man that's a leader. I need a man that got his own place. All these things have nothing to do with their looks. So men typically have to earn their value unless they're a loser. Society will look at them as a loser. Like, you can say what you want, but most women look at a man that don't have a vehicle as a loser. So we know just to even step in the game of obtaining a wife, I have to have a car. But a woman that's pretty at 25, does she have to have a car to get a good man? No, she don't. because the Almighty has given her her value, purity, and her looks. Being a virgin or low body count and her looks, it was given to her. And hers fades while ours go up, right? With time, we have to earn our value. But verse 1, beauty is vain, but a woman that fears the Lord shall be praised. And that's the same thing. I agree. I would deal with a woman that's just average, that fears the Almighty. I would deal with a woman that's a little bit below average. And before, back in the day, like 10 years ago, no. But now that I see, look at all these people, all these men and all these women that chase after looks, and it's turmoil. I know men personally that chase women that aren't virtuous, but they look good. And next thing you know, they're alimony and they weaponize the kids against them. Because you went after good hips and butt and boobs and face. You went after this. And you thought that was value, but the Almighty saying virtue is valuable. Her price is far above rubies and gold. A woman that looks average or even below average, that's virtuous, far exceeds a woman that is fair to look upon, but is not virtuous. Because you will not sustain a marriage with that. And if you are in a marriage, it will be a miserable marriage. If you went after a guy just for his looks, just because he's 6'3", and then he cheats on you and brings an STD home, what did it profit? Or you could date the man that's 5'7", and he's faithful, and he's a good husband, cherishes you, a good father, spends time with the kids, and he's faithful. Well, he's only faithful because he doesn't have as many options as a 6'3" guy. And you'll notice that a lot of the women that aren't the most appealing to look at, like typically the big ones, they end up being like the better wives. And I'm not saying it's okay to be obese. You know how I feel about that. That's being slothful, and the Bible condemns being overweight. But I'm saying they can't offer looks, so they make up in virtue. And the Almighty esteems virtue. Now let's go with the man. It says, add to your faith virtue. That's things we see how he described virtue dealing with the woman. And probably half of these things he's talking about deals with the man too, like 27. She looketh well to the ways of her household. A man's supposed to do that too. She opened her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is the law of kindness. Men are supposed to do that too. We serve the Almighty, we're supposed to do that too. So even though it's geared directly in the context to the women, but if you go through all this stuff, she will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. But because I'm a man, I could do my wife evil all the days of my life. No, I got to do her good all the days of my life too. A lot of this thing is interchangeable. But to the man, it says a perfect example. It says, a good man leaveth an inheritance to his children. That's virtue. How many men will get a $1,200 phone but won't get life insurance? There's $300 phones when you go on the T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T, and there's $1,200 phones. And basic life insurance is like $17 a month. And they will go for the $1,200 phone, or they'll go for the 22-inch rims, or they go with the newest Jordans, or this hat, or this, or a $10,000 watch, or an $800 watch, or some Yeezys, but they refuse to get life insurance. And then when they die, now your kids are on the side of the street, oh, car wash for a funeral, begging. Now you have your kids begging just to bury you because you didn't leave them anything. So it's like, no, you should be able to leave your kids an inheritance. Bare minimum, get some life insurance. Bare minimum, get some life insurance. Good man leave the inheritance to his children. Also, you can't be selfish. This is why kids don't respect their parents, is because when you don't leave an inheritance, and that shows you could care less of how their life is once you die. The proof is to put your money where your mouth is. You know why I care about you? Because I want your life to be better than mine. When I die, I'm going to leave you this, and this. And hopefully your life is filled with more joy and more peace and more tranquility than it was for me. I want to make sure so you don't have to start from scratch and you didn't have to come out of the trenches like I did. Not so you could be spoiled or entitled, but that you have a better chance to succeed. And they respect you for that. I'm not saying all kids. Some kids are entitled and spoiled brats, right? And they grow up and take that entitlement into their adulthood. But for the most part, they respect you for that. That's part of being the virtue of a man. Being a man of your word. You know how many times I talk to people and like, all right, we're going to meet up this day, and they cancel through a text message? That's not virtuous. You're not a man of your word. When you say, yeah, we're going to do this tomorrow, we're going to meet up. Oh, well, or when you go to someone and like, hey, what you doing? Nothing. Hey, let's do this. Well, see, you don't want to commit to anything. That, I wish there was a word, for a lack of better words. That is, I'll just say afraid of commitment. But that is a man that's like, don't stand for anything. I don't know if there's a word to describe it. But essentially, they already admitted that they're not doing nothing. So I said, let's plan. Let's do something on this day. And because they don't want to keep their word, they say, well, let me see what's up. There's nothing to see what's up. You already said you don't have nothing planned. So that means you have a whole day to make plans. And let's make the plan. But if you make the plan, then you have to be a man of your word. And you don't want to come off like a flake, which you are anyways. Oh, well, let me see what's up. I don't know. Something may come up. Whatever, dude. Like, those people, there's no virtue in that. There's nothing tangible. We can't shake on something and say, hey, we handshake on it, or I'm a man of my word, and my word means something. When I say at my kids, I'm going to get them this, then it may take 6 months, it may take a year, but I'm going to get them this. It may take a while, but hey, my dad said he's going to do something, or this guy said he's going to show up, or this guy. How many times you're like, hey, can you help me move? Yeah, I'll come help you move. And your voice, something came up. I don't feel like it. And they don't help you move. They're not a man of their word. There's no virtue in that. And then when you're not a man of your word, then it reflects on you as a husband and it reflects on you as a father because you flake out. This is why the Bible says, let your yeas be yeas. This is a main problem with man. Be a man of your word. Oh, yeah, just say no thanks. Oh, no, thank you. No, I want to keep I just want to be lazy Sunday. No, hey, let's roll to the gym. Nah, I don't want to do that. I just want to kind of be lazy. I just want the day open. I just want to freestyle that day. That's the worst thing. When they're like, all right, let's do this. They're like, oh, well, I get it. If you had something planned. My mom said she's going to come over, but she didn't specify. Let me see what's up. Let's play it by ear because Cox Cable is coming over. The electrician, someone's coming over. And it's a huge window, so I can't fully commit to something. All right, I got you. But when you don't got nothing, you don't want to commit, it's like, bro, you're a flake. Don't worry about it. You're trying to keep faith, but the fact that you can't solidify anything, and even with, that's another question with people that freestyle their whole life. So, integrity, there we go. They lack integrity. Have virtue as a man. Impulse. We don't make decisions out of impulse. I already tell with the youth how they'll get mad and they'll shoot someone over something dumb because you stepped on my shoes, I'm gonna stab you or something, right? A lot of decisions out of impulse. I know this dude I worked with, he got mad and he punched the wall and his hand is shot and he was supposed to go to the hospital. He wrapped it up. It was super swollen. And I think he hit a stud, right? He hit a stud. And so I was like, was there even a dent in the wall? He's like, nah. I was like, that has to make you even more mad that you punched the wall, then you hit the stud, and then there's no even dent in the drywall. It doesn't even look like, he said, I went back to look at where I punched it, and it doesn't even look like I punched it. And his hand is shot. Like, it's been in a little wrap for like 2 weeks already. So those are those decisions out of impulse. That's lack of virtue. That's like a discipline. And yes, we get upset. You may get upset with your kids real quick when they do something about to touch the stove or, you know what I'm saying, the whole fridge fell over because they were trying to climb on it or something. Yeah, you're going to get upset immediately. That's different. But making huge decisions or permanent decisions off of temporary feelings, that's a lack of virtue. You got to be moderate in all things. So let's go back to 2 Peter. 2 Peter. I'm going to go faster. I think I spent too much time on that one. 2 Peter chapter 1. And we're going to go with in verse 5. Besides this, add all addition. Add to your faith virtue. So we know that virtue, you can't just keep the commandments. You have to add virtue to your faith. And to virtue, knowledge. So we already know knowledge. Go ahead, bookmark that. We're going to come back to this like 5 more times. So you might as well just bookmark the 2 Peter. Let's go with 2 Timothy chapter 2. 2 Timothy chapter 2. Verse 14. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 14. Of these things put them in remembrance, charging them before the Almighty that they should strive not about words to no profit, but subverting the hearers. Study and show thyself approved unto the Most High, a workman needeth not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. And yes, in the direct context of what he is saying, he is talking to Timothy, which is a minister, and says, you guys need to be thorough and be well mastered into what you teach. You are going to the highways and byways. You're dealing with Sadducees, scribes, and Pharisees. You're dealing with the Jehovah's Witness that studies their Bible. And even though they're teaching lies, they sound like they're right because they ask you questions that you cannot answer. And even though this Mormon or this Episcopalian or this Apostolic Pentecostal, they're in lies. But when they deal with you why Christmas is of God and you can't answer why Christmas is not of the Most High, then you sound bad. It says we're supposed to be study and thoroughly show. I could thoroughly show you how Christmas is false, right? And it says, not ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth, but shun profane and vain babblings, which they increase more unto ungodliness, right? But it says, study and show thyself approved unto the Most High. So regardless, man, woman, or minister, or child, study and show yourself approved, that you don't be ashamed. When you're, I was talking to this, guest he's came on a couple of times, Fisher, is like, I need to start reading more because my kids ask me these questions and I tell them I don't know or I'll get back to you. And it's like, if I'm trying to get their faith to grow and they don't have answers, we don't have answers to this question, how can they be rooted and grounded in the word when they ask basic questions and I don't know? It says study and show yourself approved. How do you have faith? How do you believe on who you have not heard? And how can you hear without a preacher? How can you preach the subject be said? But how do you have faith but then don't know how to serve him? When Yeshua seen the woman at the well, it says, you worship, you know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. And in the book of Acts, they had an altar and it says, to the unknown God. It's like they worship, but they know not what. These people, in a couple of months, they're going to celebrate Christmas. And they're going to worship what they think is the Most High, but they know not what. These people are going to celebrate Easter and have their kids dressed in colorful dresses. And they're going to hide Easter egg bunnies around their church. And they're going to put money in some and candy in some and baskets in some and hand out baskets and do this and do some chocolate bunnies. And they're going to worship and say he was resurrected, but they know not what. They know not what. It says study and show yourself approved. It says ever learning and never coming to the knowledge of truth. They study, they worship, but they know not what. This is why it says salvation is of the Jews, of the Hebrew Israelites, I would say, not the false Jews, not the synagogue of Satan, right? So let's keep going. Back to 2 Peter. And to verse 5. And besides also giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance. Let's go with some temperance, especially. 1 Corinthians chapter 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 9. See if I can write this. 1 Corinthians chapter 9 will be at 24. Let's see if I can write. Did that come out right? Temperate. All right, I can't. All right, let's get it. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24. Let's get it. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that you may obtain. We're trying to attain salvation, right? Every man that striveth for mastery is temperate in all things. Now they that do it to obtain a corruptible crown, like a medal or a ribbon or whatnot. If I therefore so run, not as uncertainty, so fight I not as one that beateth the air, but I keep under my body and bring into subjection, that by in any means, when I have preached to others, I myself am a castaway. I can't be a hypocrite. But he says we are temperate in all things. We are reserved. And like I was dealing with impulse, we don't make decisions off of impulse. You know, everything should be calculated. Sometimes we slip up, like Moses hit the rock. That was a decision off of impulse. He just got mad because they were complaining. He says, must I fetch water for you rebels? And he hit the rock twice when he was supposed to speak to the rock that time. Right? And then because of that, he couldn't get in. And so we need to have temperance. Now, Moses had to deal with these knuckleheads for 40 years. There's a difference. Like, I got to be in here for 40 years because you guys were afraid to go fight these giants. Like, why do I have to waste I've already here for 40 years. Now I got to be here for another 40 years because you knuckleheads. So I understand why he did that. I'm not justifying it. But we got to be temperate in all things. This is why I was dealing with the whole obesity thing. There's no way, because this says be temperance in all things. We have to be reserved. We can't eat as much candy as we want. We can't eat as much food and junk food as we want. You're not being temperate. You need to be reserved in all things. When you're trying to run, no, I can't party. When you're trying to get a degree, when you're trying to be an open heart surgeon, and you got to go to school, you think you could be partying on the weekends, or you need to be in the books? You think you could just not study and just be chilling and playing video games, or you need to be in the books? I'm just going to play video games for 1 hour, then I got to get back to the books. I'm just going to go with my friends for a couple hours on the weekend, then I got to get back into the books. You got to be temperate in all things, because he's trying to get mastery to be an open heart surgery. We're trying to get mastery to get salvation. I'm trying to be the best football player or linebacker or track and field and high jump, and I got to be temperate in all things. I can't do what everyone else is doing. And it's the same thing with us. We got to be temperate. We got to be reserved in all things. When I go and and the restaurant says, free samples, I don't just take 15 samples. That's part of virtue. When you go to Costco and whatnot, as a free sample, take one. Maybe it's a different flavor and it's 2 flavors, you take one of each. You don't try to get full. When you see the grocery cart, put your grocery cart back. Have some virtue. You know what I'm saying? Do things that is right, not that is legal. Do things that is right, not that is legal. You know what I'm saying? Not everything has to have a ticket or being arrested behind it for you to do the right thing. Prime example, when the people come in your face, like they're filming me, like, hey, why are you filming me? Is it illegal to film you? Well, it's not illegal for me to go to a restroom and pee all over the toilet seat. It's not illegal for me to do that. But I'm not going to do it because it's not morally right. So you run and filming someone that doesn't want to be filmed, it's just not morally right. If you're filming a crime or he's being aggressive or you need proof because they don't want them to lie, there's a Karen or something, that's totally different. But to film someone at the gym because they're doing the exercise wrong and put it on social media to make fun of that guy, is that illegal? No. You could say unwanted film, but no. But it's not morally right. And that's the difference between having virtue and having temperance and adding. These are these things we add to our faith. I don't like watching people where there's sometimes people are doing some stupid stuff at the gym. And I'll be wanting to film it, but it'll be like for my personal enjoyment, but I don't. Because it's still disrespectful. Whether he knows about it or not, it's still disrespectful. It's not right. Especially the ones that put it on social media and make fun of this guy, or girl, or whatever, right? They're just trying to learn. They're trying to try something new. They're trying to be outside the norm and know it's not going to work and it looks dumb and I don't know why they do it, but they do it. But just laugh at it and keep it pushing, right? And then these are these people. This is why these people ain't going to make it in the kingdom. Is it illegal for me to do that? No, but it's not morally right. If all your moral compass is based upon the legality by your state and they dictate what is right or wrong, then your parents have failed you. Your parents have failed you. Let's keep going. So, everyone that striveth for mastery, verse 25, is temperate in all things that they do, and they do to obtain a corruptible crown, but we incorruptible. And same thing, we have to be reserved. We can't overindulge in anything. This is why I say our body is the Almighty's temple. If you are morbidly obese, you need to get that right. You can't say that your body is the Almighty's temple, because the Bible says that, and you're treating his temple like trash. Yes, I know how the food system in the U.S. is. I don't believe this much. It is impossible for you to escape something that has a preservative, or has some food dye or food coloring, or have some artificial flavors, or have something that is not healthy for you. Like, even if you go with fruits and vegetables, they're GMO. If you go with the meat, they're packed full of steroids. A lot of the food has a whole bunch of soy and estrogenic and stuff. I get it, but you should make an attempt to eat healthy and do right. Attempt to exercise. Slothfulness is a sin. If you're overweight and you're not exercising and do anything about it, you are lazy. That means you are sinning because you are defiling his temple. You cannot say that. And if you disagree with me and say I am not sinning, then by default, when you get diabetes and you need your leg cut off, you need to say that that's the will of God. Don't ask no one to pray for you, and don't take any medicine to heal from your diabetes. Don't take the shot in the stomach. Don't take any medicine, because you're saying it is okay for me to be overweight and be obese and be in this condition, and I'm not sinning against the will of God. So I am in the will of God in this physical condition. So anything that comes to me in that condition is the will of God. But no, you're not. You're going to be a hypocrite, because you're going to take whatever medicine you're going to do. You're going to go to people on Facebook, pray for me. They say I had a stroke. They say I have high cholesterol. They say this and this, pray for me. And you're going to do that, and you're going to want sympathy when you knew for years you should have lost weight, and you chose not to do it. And then now when it comes, judgment comes, you're going to reap what you sow, which is that stroke, and now half your face is paralyzed, or you get your leg cut off, and when you gain 10 and 20 and 30 and 40 pounds after 10, 15 years, you knew you were supposed to do something about it, and now you're type 2 diabetic, and now you have no circulation, or you got lymphedema, and now your foot's swollen all the time, and your ankle hurts, and you got back problems because you're overweight, or you got hip problems, or you got knee problems, and you want people to feel sympathy for you when you knew what to do 15 years ago, and you chose not to do it. How is that not lazy? How is that not lazy? This is what I'm saying. Add to your faith virtue, knowledge, temperance. You can't overindulge in food. Be temperate. Walk circumspectly in all things. I don't feel sympathy. People look in the mirror when they brush their teeth every day and know that they're fat, and they do nothing about it. And I'm supposed to feel sympathy when they go through their back pain? It's like, lose the weight. It's free. Go outside and lose weight. Go do some jumping jacks. Go for a run. Go to the gym. Planet Fitness is like $10 a month. It's free. You could add 15 years to your life for free. But no. They'll go, I'll just take some Ozempic. I'll get a gastric bypass. They'll do everything that takes zero effort. I could just take some Ozempic and I could still be lazy? I could just get a gastric bypass? Or you could just exercise and quit being lazy. That's what you could do. You could exercise. You could save all that time and energy and just quit being lazy and exercise. It's not that hard. Your body is the Almighty's temple. How are you treating his body? Are you treating it like trash? Or are you treating it good? You decide, right? Let's keep going. Back to 2 Peter chapter 1. And the reason why I'm hard on this, because no one teaches this. Look at Facebook, all these camps and congregations out there. Look at their group pictures. Like over 50% of them are obese. Why aren't they teaching about your body is the Almighty's temple? Why aren't they teaching about gluttony? And why aren't they teaching about slothfulness? It's like I feel like I'm not like the only one teaching against it. And so yeah, I'm going hard because no one's teaching on it. They'll teach, oh, you're a Hebrew and you're from this tribe and the Edomite is this. And they'll teach all this other stuff. That's irrelevant. That's in the scriptures, but it's trivial. Whether I'm a Hebrew or not, are you keeping the commandments? Whether you're black, white, Mexican, German, whatever, are you keeping his commandments or not? That's the main important thing. Not, I'm from this tribe then so what? You know how many Hebrews go into the lake of fire? You know how many Hebrews that are in adultery? Hebrews that tell lies? Hebrews that's game banging? And so you're Hebrew? Congratulations, you want a cookie? They focus on the wrong things. But then when it comes to this stuff, that's really messing them up, because you can't add to you can't be lazy and then add and then make it into the kingdom, because what are you adding to your faith? You don't have no virtue. With the virtuous woman, her hands are not idle. She waketh wisely at night. She's not afraid of the snow. She is not lazy. If you're overweight, you're lazy and you lack virtue. Let's keep going. 2 Peter chapter 1 again. Verse 6. And to knowledge, temperaments. And to temperaments, patience. Let's go faster. Patience. Bookmark that. James chapter 1. James chapter 1. A couple books to your right. Couple books to your left. Sorry. James chapter 1, verse 1. Let's get it. James, the servant of the Most High of the Lord Yeshua HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into divers temptations, knowing this, that the trial in your faith worketh patience. And patience, but let patience have her perfect work, that in time you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. So you'll be complete. We're going to deal back with that completeness when we get to that 1 Peter. So patience. We're running a little late, so I'm going to try to write this pretty quick. All right, I knew I was going to mess up. But anyways. So it says, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, that to try your faith, right? Your faith. Of your faith worketh patience, but let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. So, some of the main times you'll grow stronger in the Most High is in the trial of your faith. And like I tell people, when you go through the storm, when you go through the storm, let's say the tornado, right? When you go through this storm, the storm is going to come, whether you're a sinner or you're a saint, a servant of the Most High. You will get storms in your life. But I tell people, I would rather go through this storm keeping the commandments of the Most High than go through this a sinner. Because at least I have someone to pray to. At least I have hope. And I know that he's right there by my side in the midst of the storm. And so I just have to weather the storm. And in time I'll be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. And my faith is only going to be stronger. And I know a lot of sinners, when they go through it, they say, oh, I'm just going to trust in God, and God's got a plan. And this, and his plans for you to go to the lake of fire. You living in sin. You're going through the storms that hit every man. When it rains on the city, it rains on the sinner and the saint and the servant of the Most High. When it's hot, a righteous man sweats in 115 degrees just like a wicked man. But when the storm comes your way, and these people, oh, God, you are a sinner. Don't even mention his name. You are disobeying. God's got me going through this, but I know I'm good with his help. He's my Lord and shepherd. And shut up, sinner. But I'm dealing with the people that's actually striving to keep the commandments of the Most High, right? We're going to go through this storm, but we be patient because we have hope. And we're looking for a better resurrection. Whether it's imprisonment, whether I get sawed asunder for his name's sake, whether I go through financial struggle and tight situations, Like last time, probably a couple years ago, I got laid off for keeping feast days. It happened just like this too. All 4 feast days at the end of the year happen on work days. And so for 1 month straight, I got to take this day off, the next week that day off, the next week that day off, next week that. And I don't know, in construction, when you do 4 days off, 4 weeks in a row, 1 day off, 4 weeks in a row, they'll let you do it. But they know for a fact, right when it gets slow, you're going to be the first to cut. It's already in their mind. They won't say nothing, but they know as soon as we get caught up, as soon as it's time to make cuts and dial it down, reduction of force, you're going to be the first one to go. You're going to be in the first batch. And that's exactly what happened when I did that. But I went through that storm and I'm in a better situation. I'm in a way better situation, right? But let's keep going. Go ahead, back to 1 Peter. Verse 6. And to knowledge, temperance, and temperance, patience, and to patience, godliness, and to godliness, brotherly kindness. I forgot to get the scripture for godliness, so I'm going to skip that today. But we know godliness will be keeping the commandments of the Most High and doing things according to His will. Like it says, turn out your ears for the cries of the poor, for one day your cry not be heard. That's a godly thing to do, helping out the poor and helping out the needy. No, there's no law that says you have to help the poor. And there's no law that says if you don't help the poor, we're going to give you a ticket or whatever, right? But that's just a godly thing to do. So even sinners do things that is godly. No, they're not saved, but they do attributes or characteristics that is godly, right? So, and then to that, brotherly kindness. So go ahead and give me Galatians chapter 6. Galatians chapter 6. Verse 9. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. Sometimes it does get tiring, and I used to get tired back in the day. We're getting a little bit better results now, because we switched it up with our Zooms, and we've been outreaching more. But it was tiring when you invest in someone for 3 to 6 months, and they go back to sin. Or you invest in someone, and you've been there, and they just go to another congregation. And I know Teacher Simon, I'm not the only one. There is salvation outside of True Hebrews United, of the Lord Yeshua. I am not the only minister. But if I've been pouring into you and investing in you, and then you friend zone me, I used to get offended. It was offensive. Because essentially that's what they did. They friend zone you. Let's imagine if you're a man and you've been helping out this lady, giving her a ride to work or whatever. She clearly knows you're interested, and then they leave you for the bad boy. And they, you're so nice, and you'll make a good friend, and they friend zone you, but then they go after dudes that's not healthy for them. It's offensive. It's a slap in the face. I would never just be in a friend zone. I'll just I'm good. I'll just cut you off, right? Oh, so just because you don't want to date me, you don't want to be a friend? No. It's the principle that I'm a nice guy, and you don't want the guy that's in your corner that will love you and cherish you, and you go after the guy that's emotionally unavailable. That's why you're too stupid for me to be your friend at that point, right? But it's the same thing. Dealing with brotherly kindness is being dealing with don't be weary in well doing. What I invested in this individual, and I planted seeds, and I did Bible studies and talk and showed them love, and the congregation showed them love, and whether they need help or anything, help them find jobs. A lot of things we've done for brothers to let them borrow a vehicle, let them stay with us. Plenty of times we've opened ourselves up and tried to get someone to salvation, only for them to go back to sin or go find a church that will not love them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they just used us as a placeholder until they found either the world or that. So you're like, man, I'm done dealing with these people. These people want to go to hell. What's the point? I invested in them for this long, and Bible says this, and they just go back, right? It says, don't be weary in well doing. Because my reward, I didn't lose my reward with the Most High. He's seen that I invested in these people, and I try to love these people unto salvation. Men or women, we've seen a lot of people go and come. They've seen that we are there in their corner, and they didn't appreciate it or whatever, right? No choir, they want more members, whatever the reason why they go back to the world, go to a different congregation, right? But it says, verse 10, as we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially them who are on the household of faith. Brotherly kindness. I'm dealing with this guy at work, and I didn't even know he went to church. And I told him, dude, you're lazy. He's like, oh, I'm a lead. I'm not supposed to climb. I was like, all the other leads climb. I was like, everyone else leads by example, but you're lazy. And he got offended at that, but I didn't really care because just like you call a woman that sleeps with a lot of men a whore, and it's a derogatory word to condemn or bring shame to a behavior, like a pedophile or people that take things that don't belong to them, you call them a thief. Yes, it's not a straight deformation of character if it's true. I'm just describing your behavior. So every time I work with him in retaliation, his passive aggressive is he tries to make me do all the work, even though there's other people. But then I just run it back to him. I just run the game circle around him, right? So other people know he's lazy. But I didn't know he goes to church because my boy Fisher that jumps on the Zooms, he was trying to get him to watch some of his service. Guess he watched some of the service. And I was like, that guy's so selfish. The dude is super selfish, right? And so it's like, the Bible here says, especially the household of faith. Especially you're supposed to take care of your brothers and sisters. And we're going to deal with love anyways. So his whole example, I don't want nothing to do with your congregation. How you act, I don't want nothing to do. And I do understand he's just a brother or he's just a person going and he has characteristic flaws. And maybe that's something that it may take a year or two for him to go. But please, this dude is so selfish and you think you go to church? Please, and I'll deal with this in the next scripture, right? Go ahead, back to Peter, last two scriptures, let's get it. All right, verse 7, and to godliness, brotherly kindness, and brotherly kindness, charity. And charity we know is love. So let's go with Luke chapter 10. Luke chapter 10. And dealing with especially the household of faith, salvation is outside of True Hebrews United. We are not the only ones. You can find other congregations holding the standard, have the foundations of the apostles and prophets, Yeshua HaMashiach being the chief cornerstone. And they may have a couple of things that's a little different and whatnot, brother modesty or whatever, right? They might have some little differences, but the foundations is the same. And so, even if I met a brother that goes to a different congregation and they needed a place to stay, I'll help them out. Yeah, he don't go to my congregation, but if he's a brother, the body is bigger than a congregation or a straight organization. Oh, what camp you from? We're from this camp or we're from that. No, there's believers across the whole planet. I'm going to be there for all believers that I meet that's holding a standard. Yeah, certain things I can and cannot do. If you pay your tithes at that congregation, then you should be able to go to that congregation for help. Why would you seek another congregation if you have brothers and sisters there, but an emergency happened or maybe that minister died or he went to sin and you were looking for, hey, we're going to be there for brothers across the whole planet because salvation is bigger than one organization, right? Let's keep going. Luke chapter 10, verse 25. Luke 10:25. And behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tempted him, saying, Master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? And he said, What is written in the law? How readest thou? And he answered and said, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all of your heart, and with all of your mind, and with all of your soul, and with all of your strength, and with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself. And he said unto him, Thou hast answered right, this do, and thou shalt live. But he, willing to justify himself, said unto Yeshua, And who is my neighbor? And Yeshua said, A certain man went down to Jerusalem to Jericho, and fell among thieves, and stripped him of his raiment, and wounded him, and departed, leaving him half dead. And by chance there came a certain priest. You'd think a priest would have done right that way. And when he saw him, he passed by the other side. And likewise, a Levite, he's from the Levitical priesthood, right? When he was at that place, came, looked on him, and passed by on the other side. But a certain Samaritan, we don't even keep company with Samaritans, right? We don't even deal with Samaritans. You've seen the Samaritan woman at the well. When he saw him, he had compassion on him, and went him and bound him up his wounds, pouring oil and wine, and set him on his own beast, and brought him into the inn to take care of him. And on the morrow, when he departed, he took out 2 pence and gave them to the host, and said to take care of him. Whatsoever thou spend more, when I come again, I'll repay. Which now there of these 3 thinkest thou was a neighbor unto him that fell among thieves? And he said he that sheweth mercy unto him. And he said unto him, Go and do likewise. We're supposed to have love for everyone. We're supposed to have love for everyone. Now, it's different than the love we have for the household of faith, our brothers in the Most High. But we're supposed to have love for everyone. John chapter 13. John chapter 13. Verse 34. Let's get it. It says, "A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another, and as I have loved you, that you shall have love for one another. By this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if they have love for one another." So back to the co-worker that goes to church or whatnot, and I guess he's keeping the feast days too, because he knew he took the day off for the Day of Atonement as well. But he's so selfish, bro. I wouldn't even think he serves the Most High. Like when Abraham went to a city, and then he said that this was my sister, and he was like, I didn't think God was in this place. But the king prayed to the Most High. He was like, will you destroy a righteous nation? Out of the integrity of my heart. He told me he was our sister. So Almighty came and said, thou art a dead man. I wouldn't even think how selfish he is. He even believed in the Most High. I thought he was an atheist for all I knew. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I work with this guy, I don't have to work with him often. But it says we should have love. And so when we serve the Most High, I didn't write all of them down. When we serve the Most High, do people on your job site feel loved? Yes, we know you're going to have people that don't like you because of how you look, because of you don't drink, because you serve the Almighty, because you make more money than them, whatever, because you're telling them what to do or you're outshining them. There's going to be people that's going to hate on you without cause anyways, right? But when you come there and you're kind and generous and not kiss up and not trying to do all that, but you don't gossip, you be neutral, do people feel like, I just feel so comfortable talking to you? Why is that? Because they feel that love. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about, there's no way I could please everyone. I'm not going to look attractive to everyone. My style of teaching is not going to appeal to everyone. My way of raising kids is not going to appeal to everyone. Whatever, right? You're not going to be able to please them all. But in general, wherever you go, do people feel loved and appreciated? You know? Like, hey, you know what? Oh, I'm headed over there. You want me to get you something? I'm about to go buy. You want me to get you something? Or say money's tight. Hey, let me get me back on payday? Or, oh, your car broke down, you need a ride? I can give you a ride home. Or whatever, right? Or you want me to pick you up until your car gets fixed? And just little acts of that. Show a little love here and there. And do people feel that? Like, oh, he's a pretty upstanding dude. They should see that. It says, by this, all men shall know. All men know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. That means sinners. Sinners are going to know you believe in the Most High for the love that you show for one another. You know what I'm saying? That you're not inconsiderate, that you're not only just thinking about yourself. So let's go back to the last scripture, 1 Peter. And I don't think we got time for the news. Well, we might have a little time. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 4. Wherefore, given all unto us exceedingly great and precious promises, this is verse 4, 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 4, by these you might be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. And besides this, given all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness charity. Check this out. For if these things be in you and abound, meaning you're continuing to grow in them, that you shall neither be barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord Yeshua Mashiach. But he that lacketh these things is blind. You're not trying to grow in these things. You're not trying to show love to people on the job site. You're not trying to grow in virtue. You're not trying to be temperate and be reserved. You're not trying to be patient. You're not trying to, you just go to service and go home. You're not really worried being your brother's keeper. You're not there. If you see that they're struggling, you're not willing to, like Whitney says, see a need, fill a need. That's what I try to do. I try to fill a need. Sometimes she be hating on me about it. But anyways, so if you don't have these things, it says you're blind and cannot see afar off, short-sighted, and have forgotten that you was purged of his old sins. Wherefore the rather give diligence and make your calling and election sure. For if you do these things, you shall never fail. In James it says that you shall never be unfruitful or unbarren. When we just read the one in James, but it says you shall never fall. You make your calling and election sure. Add to your faith. Faith, yes, and you repent from sin, but you could be living, keeping the commandments and lack virtue. You could, and this is why I tell you guys, you could keep the commandments, but you suck at this. You suck at money management. You spend money like a 16-year-old, but you're keeping the commandment. You're not eating the pork. You're keeping the feast day. You're not cussing, not committing fornication. But that doesn't mean your money management is skills. Your money management skills or you're financially competent. That doesn't mean that. You could be keeping the commandments and you show up all the time late to work. Why are you showing up late to work all the time? You could keep the commandments, but you don't spend enough time with your kids. You don't teach them anything. You could keep the commandments, but that doesn't mean you're the best husband. You could keep it, or the best wife. You could keep the commandments and the work you produce on the job site is trash. You cut corners, they tell you to sweep the floor, there's still stuff. They tell you to do the dishes, they tell you to stock the shelves, you don't stock the shelf. You don't produce. You could keep the commandments and be lazy, which you're breaking, being slothful when you go to work and whatnot. But there's still characteristic flaws that you need to add virtue. So by you adding virtue, you by default get rid of these characteristic flaws. You could keep the commandments and have a pride issue. When you know you're struggling financially and a brother or sister in the body is like, hey man, you want me to buy you lunch? Oh, no. That pride. The Almighty might have put you in a position just so you could get help from the brothers and sisters, but to show you that your pride is blocking you from your blessing. Your blessing may come from this brother. Elijah, how did he get fed? He said, go to the brook. And he sent a quail, and he sent to bring in the morning and in the evening to bring fish and bread. A bird came to bring fish and bread in the morning. Miracle. Every day some bird just dropped off a fish and some bread. He broke bread with them. Imagine that miracle. Like little manna, right? But his brook dried up. You think the Almighty could have made it to where the brook didn't dry up? He could have kept sending a bird to just Uber Eats. He had Uber Eats, Old Testament Uber Eats. The Almighty could have kept doing that. But what did he do? He sent him to a widow woman, and he was a couch surfer. He was a couch surfer. He sent with a little poor woman, and then he got his subsistence from this widow woman. You know how humbling that has to be one of the greatest prophets, but you're sleeping on someone else's couch? But you're a powerful prophet, and that's where the Almighty sent you. But he didn't let his pride and ego get in the way. That's where the blessing came from, and that's where he did. And sometimes you could be serving the Almighty, but you lack virtue, or you lack these characteristics you're not adding to your faith, and your blessing comes from brother so-and-so or sister so-and-so, but no, I don't need no help from no one in this. You are drowning. Your ship is sinking. And the Almighty's trying to help you out and trying to show you, get rid of that pride, be humble, because this is how I want to bless you. And so when it says add to your faith, faith alone will not save you. You will be lacking on many things if you don't add to your faith. So, with all that said being done, keep standing. Don't drop down. Give the Almighty a hand clap. Shalom.